Hello there, and welcome to today's webinar, Nurturing Creativity with Book Creator. I am so excited to have you here today for this special webinar in the Book Creator Summer Webinar Series. So welcome to today's webinar. To get us started, you'll notice that I am playing both host and facilitator of today's webinar. We're the folks at Book Creator, so you'll see my slide deck moving here on the left-hand side of my screen, and I'll soon demo for you some of the special things we'll talk about in today's webinar around nurturing creativity. Now, I want to make sure you know how to navigate today, those of you joining live. If you are joining live, please know that this is being recorded, and we'll share it on the Book Creator YouTube channel. So if you have to jump off early or you want to share what you learned today with someone else or review the material, we'll make sure to send out a link to today's webinar so that you have it too. On the right-hand side of your screen, you'll see the GoToWebinar control panel. If it disappeared for some reason, it might just be hiding behind the little orange arrow. I'd love for you to let me know that you can hear me and that you can see our screen. Just use the question part, so the question box of the GoToWebinar control panel, to say hello, to let me know where you're from, so that way I can give some shout outs to start us out and make sure that you can hear me and see my screen. Welcome, Kathy from Ohio. So excited to have you here today. Elizabeth from San Antonio, welcome and thank you for joining us today. Glad you can both hear me and see my screen. Welcome, Debbie from Australia, Jay from Oregon. So excited that you all are here for today's live event. And so the same question space that you're typing in now to say hello is where you can ask any questions during today's webinar. I will pose some questions to you there too and give some shout outs as well. Welcome, Gertrude from Austria. So excited to have so many folks with us today, and apologies as I try my best to pronounce everyone's names as they're in places as they're coming through there as well. So if we have not met before, my name is Monika Burns. You may have joined me for one of the Book Creator webinars this past summer, and this is number 9 of 10 in our summer webinar series. I am a former New York City public school teacher, a Book Creator ambassador, and I'm an ed tech and curriculum consultant. You might know on my website, classtechtips.com, or my podcast, the Easy Ed Tech podcast. And you, of course, can find me on Instagram or Twitter at Class Tech Tips. So all places where we can absolutely connect. And if you are joining today and something grabs your attention or you get excited, feel free to snap a picture of your screen, post it on social. Some people did this during our webinar last week, and tag me at Class Tech Tips and the team at Book Creator. Always excited to see what grabs your attention and what resonates with you on our special webinar days. So a quick overview of Book Creator is where we will start together. Then we'll talk about nurturing creativity, both the what and the why, and what this looks like with a Book Creator, including some Book Creator project ideas, where I'll take you out live so you can see Book Creator in action, and hopefully you'll play along too. And of course, we'll finish up today with a live Q&A. So if you have questions, you of course can save them till the end, but please don't be shy. Use that same question box where you said hello if you have questions as we are going through. I'll take a peek as we pause and try some things out. Now, before we jump into our quick overview of Book Creator, I'd love to hear from you. If you can use that question box again on the right-hand side of your screen in the GoToWebinar control panel, those of you joining us live, and just let me know, are you totally new to Book Creator? Have you used it a bunch of times before? Are you a Book Creator pro or a newbie? How would you describe yourself when it comes to using Book Creator? Let's see. Okay, so it sounds like a few of us have used Book Creator before. Some of you are total pros, awesome, and looking for new ideas. Some feeling closer and closer to expert, while others are totally new to Book Creator. So no matter where you fall, having a little bit of experience or a lot, today I'm going to give you plenty to think about when it comes to using Book Creator with students. Now, I will do a quick overview and I will talk about and mention some features as we're going through. If you are brand new to Book Creator and it feels like I'm going a little bit fast or you want a deeper dive, you'll want to make sure to head over to Book Creator's YouTube channel after the webinar, and that way you can watch one of the Getting Hands-On with Book Creator, which will help you get started with Book Creator, and that way it'll answer any of the little questions as well that might pop up once you are playing around with the tool, and we'll give you a more kind of overview of specific features beyond just what we'll talk about together today. But whether you've used Book Creator before or you are totally new, Book Creator is an open-ended creation tool for iOS and Chrome. Just this week, there were some big iOS announcements with some updated features, which I think you'll be really excited about if you're an iPad user. When we use the term open-ended creation tool, it really aligns with our topic of nurturing creativity with Book Creator today, because we are talking about something that is open-ended. There's no one way or right way to use Book Creator with students. It is a blank canvas that really gives students a space to be creative and for you to help nurture their creativity across subject areas, across grade levels throughout the school year. Now, students and teachers can create and publish books. So there's a few examples here. And I'll share with you places to go so that you can find even more examples. But both students and teachers can create and publish books. It is a super simple tool to make interactive pages with voice, text, video, images, and more. Book Creator makes it really easy to combine a whole lot of creative multimedia, as you'll see as we go through today, making it an awesome choice for your classroom. Now, students of all ages can use Book Creator. So it's something where today you can tailor some of the activities we talk about to different age groups and different devices that you're using with students. Lots of ways to customize this experience. And of course, teachers can create libraries for students. I'll show you that today, which is a great way to help monitor what kids are doing and help give them support as they are taking part in creative activities this school year. So open-ended creation tool for iOS and Chrome. Students and teachers can create and publish books. Users can make interactive pages with voice, text, video, images, and more. Students of all ages can use Book Creator, and teachers can create libraries for students. So much you can do. Now, as I was saying, right, there's lots of ways to use Book Creator in all subject areas and in all grade levels, whether you're excited about kids creating digital portfolios, science reports, poetry books, learning journals, step-by-step guides, comics, you name it. And if you are teaching a specific subject area or looking for ideas in a specific subject area, you'll want to head over to Book Creator's YouTube channel, check out some of the webinars from this past summer that focus on social studies, that focus on science, or head over to Book Creator, where I'll point out in just a little bit where you can find some of the free ebooks that I've created and that other folks on the Book Creator from Book Creator have created, and other educators with ideas that are a little bit more specific to different grade levels or different areas. So today, when we talk about creativity in the classroom with our topic of nurturing creativity with Book Creator, we're providing multiple ways for students to show what they know, giving students choice and space to create, and helping students synthesize information to make something new. So when we talk about creativity in the classroom today, this is really what we're focused on, giving kids lots of options for them to demonstrate their understanding or show off everything that they've learned, giving them space and choice, so different ways to show off what they've learned, and the space, both in time and the physical or digital space that we'll talk about today, to create, and giving kids an opportunity to take all the things that they've learned from different places to create a new product, right? An ebook in this case. So they are making something new based on everything that they've learned. Now, if you follow along with all the wonderful work that the folks at Book Creator do, you might have already seen this new blog post from just last week, all about fostering creativity in classrooms. Now, if you head over to Book Creator's website and you go to their blog, this will be the very first article if you are with me in real time today, or if you are watching this in the future, the recording, you can always search for it using the search bar at the top of the blog. This is where you'll find the article all about fostering creativity in the classroom, posted by the folks at Book Creator. So this is a fantastic overview of some research, some extra pieces that go deeper into some of the pieces we'll talk about today. It also gives you some information on some of the survey and research the folks at Book Creator have done, with plenty of educator examples I'm scrolling quickly through that I will highlight as we go through today. We'll talk about some of the barriers to implementing creative curriculum and some of the solutions for that, but I just want you to know, and that's where we are today, I want you to know that there is this blog post that may be useful for you to refer back to, for you to share with colleagues, or bring to a team meeting where you're reading something ahead of time. I think you'll really love what the team at Book Creators put together here. Now, what they do in the blog post is shout out some big resources around creativity in the classroom. They give a shout out to Sir Ken Robinson's very, very popular TED Talk, "Do Schools Kill Creativity?" So watched over 60 million times. If you haven't seen this, it's been in circulation for some time now. If you haven't seen it, definitely worth taking a look at and making some connections to the topics that we'll explore together today. When we talk about nurturing creativity, we want to keep in mind all of the moments students have an opportunity to share what they're excited about, what they're interested in, what they're learning about, in ways that speak to them, but also connect them with an audience, which we'll talk about today. Now, in that blog post from the team at Book Creator, you'll also see a shout out to Dr. Beth Holland's fantastic ebook and resource created with Book Creator and the 6 C's of Education, with this awesome graphic from Sylvia Duckworth right here on the cover. Now, inside this book, which is linked in this same article from Book Creator, and you can find this awesome book on Book Creator's website, you'll see lots of ways that Book Creator can connect to the 6 C's of education: character education, citizenship, communication, critical thinking, collaboration, and our focus for today on creativity. So in Beth's book, you'll see a whole overview of some of the research behind this, the connection to Michael Fullen's 6 C's, and resources that will be useful for you to take a peek at, or maybe do a deeper dive, depending on what grabs your attention the most. So a lot here on Book Creator's blog that I want to point you to and let you know about. This is a great resource as well if you are doing any kind of flipped faculty meetings where you might read something or read an article, in this case, read a couple pages of a book, and then come to a meeting to talk about implementation ideas. These are some great resources from the team at Book Creator that you will want to dive into a little bit deeper. But as we get ready to think about nurturing creativity with Book Creator, I'd love to hear from you, whether it's with Book Creator, with digital tools, or without digital tools. In that question box, go ahead and answer this question: how do you nurture creativity in your classroom? What are some activities, some learning experiences, some things you prioritize? Go ahead in that question box. Maybe you have a quick story to share or a sentence to add as well. I'll give you a moment to respond to this question if you want to chat and share in the GoToWebinar control panel, those of you joining us live today. And then I will give some shout outs to some things that you add or respond to. Let's see. All right, so you might nurture creativity by giving kids options to show what they know in different ways, by leveraging multimedia, so recording voice, or using text or snapping images. So lots of different ways to nurture creativity, whether you're using something like Book Creator or you have been thinking about this for quite some time. So when we jump into some of the ways that we want to think about nurturing creativity, I want to share with you a quote from a Book Creator ambassador, John Shoemaker, who shared some of the reasons why creativity in the classroom is so important to him. And he said, in the age of Google, where factual information for everything is a quick search away, one of the best measures of student understanding is through letting them create something. You can't copy paste when you ask students to be creative. So definitely a wonderful kind of anchor for our conversations today. Now, in that Book Creator blog post, you'll read how they gave a survey to Book Creator ambassadors to talk about some of the challenges that they were facing with making sure creativity was front and center in their classrooms. And so they had three big trends that popped up in this blog post regarding challenges with implementation. And we're going to look at these three challenges with implementation as we talk about nurturing creativity today. And it's really going to be our lens of saying, what can we make sure we keep in mind as we are bringing creativity into the classroom for students? So some of the challenges, the first one we'll examine together. Difficulties in assessing creative output. So how can you assess something that students have created? And knowing this will help us nurture creativity in the classroom. Second, setting work with enough structure to maintain engagement in the classroom whilst giving enough scope for students to make it their own. So how do we find that balance between structure and making sure students are focused in on what we want them to focus in on, giving them that support, but then also the space for them to truly make something their own? And finally, making sure that time isn't taken away from working toward key measured outcomes. So how can we make sure learning goals stay front and center when nurturing creativity with Book Creator? So let's dive into each of these challenges. We're going to look at some of the features within Book Creator that can really help you address these challenges with implementation and nurture creativity in your classroom, no matter what grade level or subject area you're teaching. So the first one we'll look at together is difficulties in assessing creative output. Now, this is a common challenge when we are looking to nurture creativity in the classroom. We want to make sure we're still able to check for understanding, give students support, know that they've got it, right? Or they understand whatever the it or the topic might be, right? All of these are going to be things that we want to consider. So in order to kind of think about what this looks like, one of the wonderful features in Book Creator that really helps make sure that we are, right, assessing, checking in, giving feedback regularly to students are the teacher libraries. So if you, and you are welcome to sit back and watch or play along as I go through some of these pieces, but if you have signed in to Book Creator or are creating an account for the first time, you would go to app.bookcreator.com. Students will sign in and they will be able to join a library, a teacher library you set up. So you actually tap on the gray piece here to switch it over to teacher sign in. And when you are in, you have your library here. And teacher libraries are a great way to make sure assessment is happening on a regular basis so that you are peeking in and checking in and seeing where students are at and that they have everything they need so that you are regularly giving feedback and monitoring their progress. So when you create a library for the very first time, you will see this space. There are no books yet in this library, right? So you haven't invited kids in yet. When you click on the invite code button, an invite code will pop up, and this is what you would share with students. So you are signing in, creating a library, tapping on the invite code button at the top, and getting that invite code for students. So let's take a look at Book Creator together so you can see me go through the same process, and you are welcome to follow along as we do this as well. So I am logged in here to Book Creator, and I have all of my libraries set up here. When you are ready to create a library, you will tap on the gold yellow button, Create a New Library. Now I've created a new library here for us today. When I've created this library, I can then get the invite code for others to join. When this invite code pops up, I will then see everyone else who's here in the library. So all of the students' names will pop down here. Once they are inside, they can create a new book. Now, as they are working on their book, I, as the teacher, can access all of the books of every student that was invited into this library. This gives me an opportunity to check in regularly, to monitor student progress, to give feedback. So if I have my checklist, if I have my rubric, if I have my look fors or my success criteria, I know what it is that I'm expecting students to share. And if they're doing it in a space that allows, right, for this choice and creativity, I can give them feedback as needed. So if you would like to, if you haven't already, signed in at app.bookcreator.com, you can set up a library and find that invite code. What I'm going to do for you right here is in the chat box, I'm going to type in app.bookcreator.com, and if you click on this, it should hyperlink for you. That will allow you to open up Book Creator in a new window as you are watching today. So as you're thinking about this piece, right, and signing into Book Creator, there are a few things that you'll want to consider when it comes to managing student work. And setting up a library will really help make that happen, where just like a Google Doc or a Google Slide, you can peek in and see student progress in real time. So the challenges, right, that we think about when it comes to nurturing creativity can really be supported from a logistical perspective if you are watching students as they create, giving feedback in real time, being able to ask them questions, and Book Creator allows you to do this through that teacher library feature. Now, you can go ahead and sign in at app.bookcreator.com. You'll toggle over to teacher. And if you are brand new to using Book Creator, which some of you are, it'll take you through the steps to set up your new library. If you've used Book Creator a lot before, but have not used it on a Chrome web browser, this is a great opportunity for you to see the teacher library space in action. Remember, you can access all of your libraries from your teacher dashboard, just like you can see mine here. Once you create a library and you have it, you can monitor how many authors you have, so how many students are in there, allowing you, when you tap and open it up, to see who created which book and be able to tap and peek inside, listen to them, watch their progress, and even give feedback, whether you do it by adding some text or a note to the page that they can respond to and then delete, or even using audio feedback from within Book Creator. So 2 options there to consider with that piece. Now, the next challenge with implementation that the team at Book Creator came across was setting work with enough structure to maintain engagement in the class whilst giving enough scope for students to make it their own. Now, there's 2 big things to think about when it comes to making sure that you are giving students some structure and space at the same time. The first one is using templates. Now, you might set up a template as a way for students to understand your expectations and to support them during the creation process. This is an awesome way to set some parameters or some structures for students and still give them the space to be creative. Now here you'll see in this template that I made, I prompt with an add picture and record description for a then and now view of a special place students might spotlight. You can decide what those prompts or what a template might look like for your students. Maybe you don't want them to record a description, you want them to use text. Maybe you want to give them the option and just say add description here, and they can use audio or they could use voice to text, right? A template gives structure, but doesn't have to trap students into all creating the same thing either. So as you're thinking about that challenge of how to nurture creativity and have expectations and structure, templates are a really great way to do this. You might also have it set up so that, just as I mentioned, there's no prompt for how you're going to respond to each thing. So a student might do an entry in a reading journal using a video response by using the camera feature in Book Creator, recording themselves talk, and add that video to their page. You will still have the same success criteria, checking to make sure students can do whatever you're hoping they can do for reading. Maybe you've been talking about making predictions or using text evidence or describing characters, whatever that focus might be. Here you're giving kids a different way to choose on how they can respond and show what they know based on that piece. So we're balancing the structure with the creativity. Now, instead of using templates like this one or this one, you might decide to share exemplars with students so that they have a vision of what your expectations are or what their project can look like. Now, when sharing exemplars, you want to make sure the emphasis is on just that. It's an example, right? Not the one way to do something or the only way to be successful or show what you know. So an exemplar can help students get an understanding of expectations, have a vision for where they're going, but you want to make sure you're framing it in a way that is not stifling their creativity, but giving them plenty of space to be creative as they respond to a prompt that might be the same as the person sitting next to them, but they have the flexibility to show what they know in different ways. So here you see an example where you might say to students, you're going to make a cover for our book. You can use pictures, you can use audio, you can use text. Here's an example of what yours might look like. So it doesn't have to be the same, right? But giving them a vision can also help anchor them in the expectations that you have. Same thing for this page. You might say, I want you to recommend 4 websites that help answer our big question for today. Students might make a list of some curated resources that they've vetted, that they've evaluated, that they're ready to share. You might show this example mostly to tell them that they're going to hyperlink text and add their question, and you might not give them instructions about elements like an arrow or text boxes or images, and give them the space and flexibility to add those other design elements to help with their own communication, right, of the information that they found with their audience. So really taking this in that direction to give students the space as well. Now, when you are sharing examples or exemplars with students, you may want to share work from other students. So if you have student work from previous years, especially if you are a Book Creator Pro and you have some great examples from what students have created in the past, you might share some selections of that as well. Another way to bring that into the equation. So I'd love to hear from you when you're thinking about your students and your creative projects that you've done in the past or that you're planning on. What kind of structure do you give students for creative projects? Take a moment to tackle this question in our question box, and I will review some of the questions that have come through while I've been chatting and sharing some of these examples. All right, I saw some questions come in as you are sharing some of the ways that you give structure for student projects. So I saw a question come in about the app on iOS. So the app on iOS on iPads will look a little bit different. You'll see some similar creativity features as we jump into the pen tool, but you may want to explore the teacher dashboard on the Chrome or Safari web browser of your iPad. Those apps, the Safari or Chrome web browser, will let you access the teacher dashboard feature. So Pat asked about do students know if you are peeking in or taking a look? If you turn on collaboration, which is a paid feature, then you do have that Google Doc-esque type of view of, oh, someone's in my document, but that's with the collaborative piece. Maria asked about blocking templates. So templates are totally optional, and you would want to design or decide on what that would look like as well. So you might decide that you want to create templates for students, they can copy that into their book, but that would be something that you would totally control what that would look like, and you can set it up so that it's for each child the same, or you might have some differentiated books that you copy and give to different students that way as well. So when you're giving structure to students' creative projects, I love some of the things that you shared, giving a note with sound on students' pages, providing rubrics, a list of must-to-dos, right? So things you must have on your pages, right? All of those can help guide students and give some structure. Well, the third challenge that the folks at Book Creator shared in their awesome blog post on creativity and nurturing creativity with Book Creator was to make sure that time isn't taken away from working towards key measured outcomes. So really keeping those learning goals front and center. So when we talk about this challenge, we want to focus in on what your expectations are for students as it relates to the learning goals you've set up. Now, if you are thinking about learning goals and specific expectations, you may want to check out one of the free books from the folks at Book Creator with specific project ideas. This might help you make that jump from my learning goal is all about helping students understand the seasons to we are going to do this type of science project, right? So that might be helpful. If you haven't seen these books before, you can go to My Books, come back out here, I should say you go to My Books, like where your books live, and come back out here to your teacher dashboard, go to resources. You'll see lots of resources, and down here at the bottom are all of the awesome Book Creator books that folks have created to share some examples as well, whether it's high school, supporting language learners, lots of lessons and ideas right from within here. But when we are thinking about balancing creativity with those measured outcomes, with your specific learning goals that you are making sure students understand, you want to make sure that you have clearly identify your goals, so that you clearly identify your goals for students. What is it that you really want them to know and be able to do or understand? You also want to revisit and reflect on the progress students are making. So continuously saying, is this really connected to our learning goals? Am I making sure that students have an opportunity to explore and apply what they've learned, right, in a space that also gives them some creative license? Making sure that you integrate formative assessment along with this creation process can help make sure that you're balancing creativity with those measured outcomes. So if you're checking for understanding with students and as right alongside their creative projects, this might be part of your confidence level, right? Increasing that you are addressing your measured outcomes and providing plenty of opportunity for students to be creative. Most important, you want to also make sure that you are as transparent as possible, right, about how students are creating something that connects to, right, a really big deal, right? The measured outcomes that you have, the learning goal you've identified, they are mastering content, and that can be part of your celebration, right, throughout the process of look at what we've learned, look at what we've created. All of those pieces can come together there too. Now, before we jump into Book Creator and I talk about some of the specific features that can help you nurture creativity in your classroom, I'd love to hear from you. Are there any strategies that you use to make sure that you are balancing creativity with those measured outcomes? Go ahead and share it in the question box. So how do you balance creativity with measured outcomes? What's something that you know or have found successful? Feel free to share that in the question box. I'll take a look to see if any other questions came in, and I'll give some shout outs too. So having rubrics to make sure that you're still focusing in on specific learning goals is something that you are doing to help balance creativity with measured outcomes. Providing different opportunities for students with prompts, but different opportunities with them to respond is another thing to consider as well. So yeah, you can keep any of those ideas coming through. Modeling with a sample layout, like we talked about with our templates or exemplars, awesome. So all things to keep adding and sharing in there too. Now, I wanted to share this quote from Book Creator Ambassador Karen Wolf about some of the pieces we're about to explore together. So, the most effective time we got creative in class was probably app smashing with Book Creator. Fifth graders were put in groups and given the task of researching an explorer. Students were then required to learn about all the explorers from their peers. The students were excited, motivated, and took accountability for their learning. So as we talk about this piece of giving kids opportunities to create, balancing that with the expectations for the measured outcomes or the learning goals you have, right? Giving kids an audience, right? Letting them leverage different features within Book Creator can all be part of this process. So I want to take you through a few items or few features within Book Creator, give you an opportunity to see some of the ways that students can get creative within this space. And if you have questions as we're going through some of these, and I'm going to move through a few faster than others. I'll take you out and do a demo of a couple of them. I just want you to know that that Q&A option, right, the time we'll spend at the end, it's optional, but you can use the question box now to add in any questions. So the first thing that I want to think about, kind of our baseline for giving kids choice and the ability to be creative with Book Creator, is that plus sign at the top of their screen. This is where they can import items, snap pictures, draw, add text, and record their voice. So when it comes to giving them the space to be creative, they can use keyword searches like the one you see here to add images to their page. There isn't necessarily a right image as much as them having an opportunity to evaluate and think about what's going to help connect with their audience and also connect to the topic that they are working on. You'll also want to show students and give them the option to record their voice. Some students are super comfortable recording their voice. Other students are not comfortable. I was working with high schoolers last week. I was working with elementary school students last month where we were recording voices, and some of them were super excited and others were not too pleased, right, about the idea of recording their voice. So what's great about Book Creator is that they have the choice, right? They can record their voice if they're happy and comfortable doing that, or they could use the text feature too. Now with Book Creator, you can give students opportunities to change backgrounds, to get creative with how their layout of items are on their page. This also can connect alongside conversations on audience and making sure that students are pulling things together that connect with their audience. You also will want to use the pen tool with students, which I'm going to give you a quick overview and demo of now, which is a huge part of nurturing creativity in the classroom by letting kids annotate, draw, or illustrate, and use some of the great features that help them get creative inside of Book Creator. So let's take a peek. So within the pen tool, as you see here, if you haven't used it before, the brush tool here lets you choose from different types of pens, right? So you can pick and choose. The emoji tool right here allows you to choose different emojis, to search for emojis, or to look within emoji categories. You might use a combination of the pen tool and emojis like I've done here in this example to label a picture, right? So you might have students color code or give them the space to use these features to accomplish the goal of annotating or showing off something within a picture. You might also use that pen tool, and one of the fun colors or magic ink that you see here. You might have students change their brush type like you see here. So I've got my glitter gold and my paintbrush, and then they can draw right onto their page and even switch it up using the auto draw tool, which allows them to draw like this sailboat here and then get some ideas of maybe what they were trying to get at, choose the one that fits best, whether they try a couple or decide on the first one, and bring all of these onto their page. So I'd love for you to explore some of the special features here that grabbed your attention, especially when you're thinking about nurturing creativity in the classroom. I'm going to come back out here to my library. I'm going to jump back in and create a new book so that you can see some of these pen tools in action that are great for nurturing creativity in the classroom as well. So I'm going to tap here on my pen tool. You'll see some of the things I shared before. I'm going to change my colors here. I'm going to go for some of this magic ink. change to a paintbrush, make this a little bit thicker, and then I can go ahead and draw down here. Maybe I'm making a beautiful magic kind of mountain area here, right? I can color it in, go up and down on my screen as I paint in this space. I'll pause with this one and switch it up here. Maybe now I'll choose purple. I'll go into auto draw. Maybe I will draw a picture that I want it to snap into place. So you saw me draw that sailboat before. I'll draw another one here. We'll see if it knows what I'm trying to do based on my sailboat. Yep, it knew I was thinking a boat. So I might upgrade it to a cruise ship here and place this here on my colorful water scene. I might go to the emoji here. I might type in a keyword, or I might search for an emoji here. So if I type in sun, it's going to pull in a nice big sun that I can add here to my very colorful ocean scene. So all of these are awesome opportunities for kids to get creative with storytelling and also have some structure and support as well when they are sharing their stories or responding to a prompt. And then this will go right here, and I can even move it around or resize it, just like any of the elements on a page. So when we think about some of these tools that are really great for giving kids space to be creative and giving them choice, this is something where you can think about those challenges we talked about. So the logistical challenge of monitoring student progress using teacher libraries to help solve that problem. The challenge of giving structure to students, which you can do with templates or you can do with exemplars. And then of course the challenge of making sure everything's focused back in on those measured outcomes or learning goals, right, by helping students connect what we are talking about from a big picture curriculum map to giving them space to demonstrate their learning more creatively, right? All of the features that I gave a quick highlight of can help make that happen. But when you're thinking about your particular learning goal, the structure you want to give students, right? You have an opportunity to make sure that they are focused in on that information while also have the space to show what they know in lots of different ways. So this is a great time as we get ready to wrap up our time together to put any questions you have so we can finish up with our Q&A portion of the webinar. So if you have any questions about the pieces we've talked about today, whether it's the resources shared by Book Creator, the free ebooks, the special features that help give students an opportunity to be creative, or some of the strategies to tackle common problems for infusing creativity into the classroom, feel free to get your questions ready in the GoToWebinar control panel's question box. But as we get ready for our Q&A portion, I want to make sure you know about some special resources from the folks at Book Creator. They started a free newsletter this year, which they publish on their blog and send out in an email to Book Creator users, all about bringing creativity into the classroom with Book Creator, as well as lesson ideas that you can use right away. They also have some extra resources, including a free Facebook group for Book Creator teachers that I highly recommend you join in. All you have to do is go to Facebook and log in and then type in Book Creator teachers into your search bar. And that's where you'll see a Facebook group for Book Creator fans like you probably are if you're here today, with teachers sharing lots of ideas and strategies, whether you want to share too or you just want to take a peek at what other people are excited about. It's a really great space. There's also an awesome support page too. Now, I mentioned the free ebooks earlier. To access them, you can log in. You're in My Books like I am here. Go back to the teacher dashboard, flip over to resources, and this is where you can find some of the books. Right below it, you'll also see a special link that will take you straight to that Facebook group I mentioned. So just another way to find it as well. So let's go back to our slide deck here. I see some questions coming in here I want to make sure we tackle before we finish up today. First question that came in says, how can I add text without having to type it? So this is an awesome voice to text feature. I'm using my Chrome browser, remember. I'm here in my library. I was showing it to you, I believe, here in my reading journal. So if I hop back over here, right, I can go ahead and add this special feature. So look what I can do here in my reading journal. I can go to the text button, and sure, I can type it in, but I can also use voice to text. So this is how you would add text without typing it. So this, if it's my reading journal, I might now share a response or a prediction. I just finished my book for today and am so excited to tell you all about it. So I hit record, I started talking, and look how amazing that is. I got all of my words just right. I can hit done and add that to the page. So great question about adding text without typing it. So that's how you would go about it. Let's see if any other questions came through. I don't see any more right now, but if you do have more questions, you can always send them along in an email or a tweet or an Instagram message. Remember, this recording of this webinar will go up on Book Creator's YouTube channel. You can find the first 8 already posted there. And then the first week of September, we're doing one last Book Creator webinar all about Book Creator in special education. So that's something where super excited to share that topic with you too. So if you have any additional questions, feel free to send them along, but a big thank you for joining today. I'm so excited that you were able to carve out time and to think about how you can nurture creativity in your classroom with Book Creator. Thanks for joining and hope to see you on our September webinar.